So I think the big question a lot of people have right now, and I talked about this yesterday when I did a video on it, you know, is whether or not CM Punk will be part of AEW, when they debut Collision, right now originally set for the United Center in Chicago. Because as I mentioned yesterday, a lot has been going on, and it seems that one of the things going on involves Ace Steel, who, as I mentioned before, I actually met at an NWA Central States Wrestling event in Lawrence, Kansas, because he took the chair I was sitting on to use as a weapon. But anyway, one of the quest, one of the things that got brought up about it is, Ace Steel, what's his involvement going to be like? Is AEW going to bring him back? How is he going to be, working alongside Punk if he does come back and all that? What's going on? You know, and apparently reports have been coming out thanks to Fightful and other sources that Ace Steel was actually hired back months ago, and you know apparently not only was he hired back months ago, but he was, I guess, hired back, acting like basically nothing really happened or something. I'm not really sure. And apparently, I guess CM Punk was under the impression that he was going to come back and work alongside him behind the scenes, but that's not going to be the case. And apparently, this is what's causing a falling out right now between Punk and AEW because, yeah, Tony Khan apparently hired him back, that being a steal, but he's hiring him back to work, I guess you could say, virtually or long distance wise with Punk. In other words, not truly, be there with Punk and in the flesh. And this is not obviously workable with CM Punk in any manner whatsoever. And thus, this is the reason why apparently Punk was taken off the promotional posters, why he wasn't mentioned on Wednesday along with, the announcement, of Collision, by Tony Khan, you know, or why, Tony Khan didn't just straight up say, yeah, it's going to be at the United Center, CM Punk, and CM Punk's going to be there. Apparently, this is all due to the fact that Ace Steel is not going to be there in person. He's not going to be there in person, whatsoever to work with Punk. Now, we don't know whether or not this is true or, what's going on. But if that is indeed the case, I mean, look, like I said, I've met Ace Steel. I actually got a tape from him. I bought a tape off him at at said event that he was that I met him at, the NWA Central States of Wrestling event in Lawrence. I got a tape of him of his matches in Japan. I still have it. It's in the garage somewhere. And as much as I respect Ace Steel for being a great in-ring talent, and there's no denying that. I mean, heck, even I kind of knew who he was. When I went to one of the events as well, I kind of knew who he was based off what I've been hearing about with him and Punk in Ring of Honor. So I knew who this guy was. I had an idea and everything. I had an idea. But, with all due respect to the guy, or with all due respect, I think Ace Steel needs to realize that, even though, CM Punk is trying to vouch for him to come back and everything, or at least get rehired back, that honestly, right now, it's not the best time. It's not the best time to be, a part of AEW. It's not the best time to try to, get your job back and everything, like and basically be in the same position you used to be because of what happened. If I'm Ace Steel, and I say it with all due respect, I think he needs to basically, basically just back off and and say, Punk, look, don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. I'm financially well off right now, so you don't have to worry about me. Just worry about yourself. I think Ace Steel, if he really wants to make up for what he did during that brawl out, and attacking Kenny Omega, biting Kenny Omega's hand and stuff, if I'm Ace Steel and I want to make up for what happened during that brawl out, then honestly, I just tell Punk, hey, don't worry about me. I can take care of myself. Worry about yourself, and trying to make amends with AEW and trying to get back into the good graces and win back everybody's trust. That's what I would do if I was a Steel. I would have told him, not to worry about me. Worry about yourself, and just we'll come back to me in a later date. But apparently, that's not what's going on here. Apparently, Punk is, I guess, worried about Ace Steel not having a job or not having Ace Steel there with him and everything because they go back a long way. I mean, let's not forget, they were part of the Second City Saints, or at least in one of the interpretations of the Second City Saints. They were, together, as a team, as a unit. I think occasionally with Colt Cabana, but they were together as a team, as a unit. And it's it's one of those it's basically one of those situations where, yeah, you're good friends. I think Steele mentored him, taught him, trained him, that being Punk. So it is an example of you have a strong friendship that has lasted the test of time in this when it comes to the wrestling business. But it's another thing when you allow that friendship to override your thinking, to override your mentality of, okay, maybe asking for my best friend to get have his job back and be with me physically, is not going to be the best idea, because there's going to be talent. Let's be honest, there's going to be talent, on Collision that they're probably not going to trust Ace Steel. They're not going to be very fond of Ace Steel being there because they don't know what he'll do. If they have a problem with Punk or not. They're not sure what he'll do based on what happened during the brawl out. So if I'm, Ace Steel, like I said, I would have been more. I would have basically thought, okay, I know my best friend's trying to get my job back, or I know Tony Khan's willing to give me another chance, but maybe right now is not the best opportunity. Maybe right now we should just hold up and see what happens. But that's not going on. That's not what's happening. And if anything, it's just another example of, Tony Khan being more of a fan, than anything else. It shows that he's more of a fan when it comes to certain talent than anything else, because if he was a true boss, if he was a true leader, he'd realize that, yeah, maybe I shouldn't bring someone like Ace Steel back just yet. Maybe I should wait until a lot of things are cleared up, to bring him back, because, you bring him back now, and it hasn't even been a year since the brawl out. If you bring him back now, you're basically risking, the trust of not just the overall AEW and by extension Ring of Honor talent, but you're also basically, you're also basically risking the reputation of your company, because by doing so, you're willing to just say, yeah, my company's the kind of company that, we don't care if anything happened in the past. We don't care who was at fault or anything, or this person did that. We're willing to give everybody a chance and everything. You're going to basically give by basically not really thinking about the ramifications that could come from this and everything. You're basically causing your company to develop a reputation of being that new, I guess, how do we put it, that new kind of like a renegade company, but on a public level. For example, you look at ECW. I was just watching a video that, Cultaholic put up a year ago, Cultaholic Wrestling put up a year ago, talking about the most notorious ECW matches. This one right here. This one right here, if you could see it. You know, I was watching that, and there were many moments in these matches that were already documented that gotten ECW in trouble, or at least could have gotten them in trouble, and some did almost get them in trouble and cost them some things, like the mass transit incident and all that. The first lesbian excuse me, the first lesbian angle, on a on broadcast television, syndicated television. Those incidences nearly cost them, their first pay per view, which ended up which they ended up getting in the form of Barely Legal, but those two incidences nearly cost them. Fortunately, Paul Heyman's dad was a lawyer and was able to get them out of these situations and all that, but still, it nearly cost them. It nearly cost them everything. And even after doing some of these incidences and all that, or having certain people do what they did, in the long run, they they still kind of continue doing similar actions, or having similar moments and having similar matches. Basically, it's like they didn't learn from before. I mean, yeah, with future barbed wire matches they did after the Terry Funk Sabu one, yeah, those were a little bit more, I guess you could say, tame in nature, but still, people got hurt. You would, people got hurt and everything. You would think, they would learn not to put New Jack, in a match with, any member of the Baldies group, not realizing that it could, end up, end up for the worst. Either for them or for him. And look what happened to Living Dangerously. So yeah, ECW basically had that reputation of, hey, we may have gotten in trouble in the past about this, or letting this happen, or letting that person do this, da 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 da. But hey, we're still here, and guess what? We're still going to do it again. And that's kind of what AEW, Tony Khan is allowing AEW to develop from a, reputation standpoint, by hiring back the likes of Ace Steel. You're creating an environment of, yeah, this guy may have been one of the EVPs, one of our top stars, main eventers, a former world champion on the arm, and attacked him and da da da, threw a chair at him and da da da. But you know what? I'm gonna bring him back because I don't want him. I don't want to anger CM Punk. I don't want to get Punk angry at me. I don't want Punk trying to get out of his contract and go elsewhere. I'm going to bring this guy back, but I'm gonna have to do it in a way that's not gonna, cause trouble for the company. But yet it is causing trouble for the company. It's causing trouble not just for them, but potentially it's going to cause trouble with the relationship when it comes to WBD. Because Warner Bros. Discovery, is hoping that, both sides can reconcile so that we have Punk on the first Collision episode. If not, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. And just, again, it's just an example of, trying to be a renegade company, the second coming of a renegade company that we had before, by allowing this kind of stuff to happen and not, really sticking to your guns and saying, now I'm not going to bring this guy back or this person back because of what happened. So yeah, right now Ace Steel is kind of like the hold up in the whole CM Punk AEW situation, AEW Collision situation. Will it get resolved? We'll have to see. But what are your thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments. And until next time, guys, I will talk to y'all later.